you'd be behind a curtain and Eddie Maguire would be there shadow boxing. And I'd be going, what are you doing that for? He said, I wasn't good enough to play for Collingwood, so this is like my grand final.
All the players I've had in 30 years, that was the most frightening injury he's ever seen.
If my parents didn't help me to the toilet and I just went to sleep, I would have died that night, yeah. He said, the other selectors have you in the gun this week. They want to drop you. They wanted you gone, but your coach is backing you. I kick a few goals, so I'll go up to one of the selectors, say, you're going to drop me, were you? He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, I've never heard anything like that. I got a tap on the shoulder and Tommy Bell Chambers, he goes, have a look at the door. And there was Campbell Brown, Hodge Lewis, all walking into the same pub as us. I said to him, I'm not a fighter. And his response was, hey, just throw one and let me take care of the rest.
In the house today, Dos is a legend of the Essendon Footy Club, an AFL Hall of Famer, 5-time All-Australian, 3-time Coleman Medal. He's won Goal of the Year, Mark of the Year. He's done everything. Matty, Lloyd, welcome to the dos&d show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, listen to that.
That's the loudest it's ever been.
That's the loudest it's ever been. The boys are excited. Mate, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to chat with you over the next hour or so. But this time of year, we're about to launch to the footy season. How's everything looking at the Sunday Footy Show and all your media commitments?
It's good. No real changes. This time last year, I was the last one standing because Hutchie and everyone left. So Hutchie, Caro and Kane. So everyone was wondering what was wrong with me. Why didn't Channel 7 take me? So I was the last one. I was the only one with a contract, actually. So I stayed at Channel 9 and obviously love it there. But, yeah, it was same panel with Chompers and Rory Sloane and Damo and Nathan Brown, and then obviously myself, Sam McClure, Damo, and Jimmy Bartell on the Monday night.
But then you go all the way back to 9, your first kind of experience on the Footy Show, early days, and we'll chuck that clip up, Sammy, because we wanted to get straight into the Velvet Sledgehammer and that Sammy Newman, the Dacking incident, mate. And as Sammy gets it up, maybe explain your first experience with TV and media, especially on the Footy Show.
Yeah, it was the biggest thing when you were approached to be on the Footy Show. It was a real honour because it was the only real show in town, and it was prime time, and it was good exposure, and it's where guys like Jason Dunstall and Billy Brownless and Gary Lyon and all these guys, really Dougie Hawkins, they made names for themselves. James Hird on that show, so it was nerve-wracking. Like before you'd go on, you'd be behind a curtain, and Eddie Maguire would be there shadow boxing. And I'd be going, what are you doing that for? He said, I wasn't good enough to play for Collingwood, so this is like my grand final. So this is my big night for me. So so it was quite funny. And then in terms of the one with Shane Crawford Dacking, like I'd really struggle on that show, to be honest. I actually put myself probably back being on that show because I was too scared to say anything. I was burnt a few times where I told at one stage I tried to be humorous. Eddie Maguire blew it up, where I said that Dean Wallace is going to go after Matthew Richardson, who had a bung shoulder. They named Richo, and I said, Eddie said, give us a bit more tonight. Give us a bit more. Show a bit of personality. So I said, Richo, if you play, Dean Wallace has come after that shoulder. So Eddie, through the whole show, goes, you heard it here first, folks. Matthew Lloyd has said that Essendon are going to go after Dean Wallace, after Matthew Richardson. So suddenly it was on the papers the next day. Terry Wallace had plastered it all over the Richmond rooms. So I decided not to say anything on that show for the rest of that time. But in terms of the Dacking one...
Hit play, Sammy. We'll give it a watch.
Let's have a quick look.
2 weeks, Sam Newman. So I'm struggling here. Like I'm trying to be... and then so Croft absolutely saved me there because I was talking absolutely...
Eddie's fallen over.
And that was the drama of the television. I was even on once when... Sam Newman was talking about that M&Ms are an aphrodisiac.
Oh, yes.
And then he started hugging, and the M&M just suffocated and went that big into that big. So they were great times.
I forgot about that because I remember I was obsessed. I had the Footy Show DVD as a kid. I used to watch it. And then I think, what is it? Is it a Holden line or something's kind of at the desk? You're trying to talk and he's like kneeling in front of you. Like,
that's right.
But that particular footage, so we've been lucky enough to have Sam on this podcast. Yeah. He's one of the all-time greats, hilarious
and
guy.
As well.
And Richo as well too. But we've heard his side of the story of the Dacking. But was this a pre-plan from you and Croft, or did Croft just go for it? You had no idea?
No, unless there was another meeting held without me in it. Yeah. There was nothing planned at all.
Oh, really?
So that just happened. That was the cheeky nature of Croft. Sam was up for anything, but I honestly hand on heart, believe that just happened. And there's nothing planned. I reckon Croft got bored of what I was talking about there and just went bang and it made a great moment of television, which you could do anything back then. Like nowadays, everything's changed and you got to be so careful where some of the things that were said. Nowadays, like someone says something, we half get jumpy because of the trouble you could potentially get in, whereas back then anything went.
Yeah, I guess with the Sunday Footy Show, it is that bit of a larrikin. It's a bit of a laugh. It's going through the reviewing of the games. It's showing everyone the highlights, but it's also that it's still almost nearly my favourite and a lot of people's favourite show because it's still got that element to it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dos. I think it's the last of its kind. The last show where 5 blokes are just sitting around and taking the piss out of each other and the mickey out of each other. And I think that's what it's got to. And honestly, the most feedback I get from anything I do is people say, oh, what about what happened on the Sunday Footy Show? And I love the Sunday Footy Show. And I think it's been really good for me. Like I retired and I didn't want to give anyone anything. Like it was just narrow focus, all on football, wasn't going to show anything, give away anything. So then once I retired and I wanted to get into the media, I did have 3AW say, nah, you're not for us. And Seven said, you're not for us. Fox Footy said, you're not for us. So I just knew I had a long, long road because I think I didn't want to give anything as a footballer. So people were saying, well, why would we employ him? So then for Derm just happened to leave Channel 9 and I had my manager call up and just say, hey, is there an opportunity for Matthew here? And the Sunday Footy Show was where it started. And to be able to show your personality and laugh at yourself, that's been one of the best things that's ever happened for me in my media career, to show there's a different side that I've always had a humorous side, but I never got to show it to anybody. So that's where the Sunday Show's been brilliant for me and everyone who's been on it.
When you reflect upon your career, I mean, your achievements on the field, like we kind of listed off at the start of the show, is incredible. But and now the way the game's going, it's more commercialised. We're seeing documentaries left, right and centre. Social media is blowing up. Do you wish you showed more of your personality as a player?
I wouldn't have changed, I don't think.
Yeah.
I reckon even if I went back and played now, I'd probably nearly be the same. I'd try and enjoy it a bit more, because I didn't enjoy a lot of my career. It was just I was so hard on myself. If I played well, I got to do it again next week. If I played poorly, I'd smash myself till Wednesday. But it's the reason I reckon I made it at I got drafted at 16 and I reckon I was performing pretty well at 18 because of that mindset that I had. But it was also the reason why I was just about mentally gone at 28 because I'd been so hard on myself. So I showed great personality inside the change rooms, on footy trips, all those sorts of things. But I was just very conscious of not saying anything out of school or out of place that could affect my teammates or potentially the team.
When it comes to, say, leadership, because obviously hearing you speak then around who you are at the footy club, in front of your players, how you speak to them before games, coaches' meetings or leadership meetings, reviews and things like that. How did you transition from being, vice captain under Hurdy to then having the conversation? You sat down with Sheeds and Hurdy for a coffee and James wanting to give you the captaincy.
Yeah, James was so good that he was our security blanket. So I was voted in as vice captain largely because I was a talented player and I was a hard trainer. I was a perfectionist, but I wouldn't say I was a great leader. Like if I wasn't going well in a game of football, I wasn't really thinking of too many others. I was sometimes in a toilet cubicle, sitting, going, gee, I haven't had a kick in the first half. How do I kick 5 goals in the second half? So I wasn't really thinking about it while James was out there marshalling the troops and making everyone run through a brick wall. So when they approached me, it was actually Mark Harvey and James Hurd who took me to a cafe and said, hey, it's your time for you next year. I said, no, it's not time for me because I haven't been great at this. So I've been a bit of a selfish full forward who has thought a lot about myself. So can you give me another 12 months? So you do it for 12 more months and I'm going to be different to what I've been. So and then I just listened to James and I watched James, and James gave me more responsibility for the 2005 season, and then I was well and truly ready to take over in 2006. But what I would say, I was too black and white as a captain. I was very hard, so I didn't think about circumstances, reasons, potentially for why guys were not training to their capacity or playing to their capacity. Whereas now as a coach, I'll always ask questions. So how are you going? Is everything going on? How's everything going in your life? And I'll be and then I'll make an assumption of what I want to do from that point. But I definitely do things differently if I went back in time. Yeah.
Speaking of coaches, we always love hearing the Sheed stories, the great man. But you played, obviously, the majority of your career under Sheeds. What was he like as a coach? Because we were listening to an interview with you the other day, and it was interesting to hear probably how harsh you were on yourself as a leader. But then, which surprised me, you kind of mentioned that Sheedy was almost the one that would be like, you'd come into Sheedy saying, hey, these are the blokes we may need a cut. Yeah. But Sheedy would be a bit more wrap your arms around, where from the outside it would seem like the opposite. So can you talk to us about Sheeds?
Yeah, he used to frustrate me for that reason, because he was like, he'd see the best in everyone. So I know he was ruthless and brutal in the early days, and they'd be crawling around Windy Hill on all fours because he felt they weren't tough enough. I never saw any of that. He gave me like 2 or 3 almighty sprays in my time. I remember there was one day where he just said, you're embarrassing yourself, your family, your supporters, everyone who's come to watch you today, you're absolutely embarrassing yourself. And as soon as he finished, I saw him go a bit white, thinking, I wish I didn't go that hard and that far with that. But no, he was, he just saw the best in him. So he wanted to turn the rat bag from another club into something special at Essendon. And I just knew that 99 times out of 100, that wasn't going to happen. That we're wasting our time. So I used to get frustrated, and I walked into a club that our demands was to be top 4, like it was prelim or bust. That's the expectation, and that's what I walked into. And I could saw our standards dropped at Essendon. By the time I was taking over as captain, I didn't see those standards there anymore, and I was frustrated. And I knew that my career was wasting away. And I'd run down the race some weeks against Geelong and these clubs, and I didn't think we could win. It was a shocking way to run out. I didn't expect to win because I didn't feel our standards were good enough. And that's why I'd walk into his office and say, Sheeds, where are we going? What are we doing? Why is he on the list? So I was probably like a man in a hurry from day one in many ways, and I was as a captain too. But that was probably – but that's the frustration I had with him. But he picked me when I was 16 to play NAB Cup. He picked me at 17 and 1 month to play AFL. He said to me, you got to have the best hands in the comp, and I'm going to show you how you're going to get them. And he did it from day one. I wasn't allowed to take a chest mark at all at any stage in my career. I had to be out in front. I was wet behind the ears, and then blokes were bashing me. I was being pinched, I was being punched. And rather than wrapping his arms around me, he said, you've got to harden up. You've got to harden up. And that's where the sledgehammer come from, because he said, if someone's in your way, you have to plough through them that hard and drive your knees through them, because you need everyone to stand up and go, wow, like this guy's a man, and he's going to make us pay if we keep getting into him. So he taught me that many life lessons around how to be a great player, how to toughen up, investing and being smart with your money, like every facet of life. Sheeds taught me, so I've got a lot to thank him for.
You talk about going at the ball at a gate. Gary Hocking, Buddha, he gave you, I think you copped an elbow. Yeah. And it went to the tribunal. I think the advice you took from someone was tell the truth. Yeah. Be honest, tell the truth, and it turned out, Gary wasn't too happy with you.
Yeah, yeah. So that one, I felt like he was going after me. I was through that period where I burst onto the scene. I think I'm maybe 97, my third season. I've kicked 60-odd goals, and I felt like they were starting to go after me to test me out. And Gary Hocking was one that under a pack, short uppercuts and knees were dropping into me.
Do that then,
I got to a point where I was just sick of him. I couldn't stand him, and I felt like he was always going after me. So there's this one game where he's just cocked the elbow as I'm dropping down to take a mark, and it just clipped me and blew the eye up a bit, and nothing came of it. So I went to the club, and I said, what about this bloke? Like, how does he get away with that? So someone within the club has told the AFL, have a look at this incident with Gary Hocking. So within 24 hours, it's been sent to the tribunal, and I've just gone and pretty much, normally you look after blokes, I've gone the opposite way, and I've started saying, Hocking. It was a weak act. He's cocked the elbow. And I should have seen the way he was staring at me.
yeah.
I was scared. Anyway, so the way it works is you give your evidence and then you can leave and then the player has to get up and give his evidence. So the way he was staring at me, like his blood was boiling, he's staring at me. So as soon as I gave my evidence, I get out of there. But then it's at the Herald and Weekly Times, big building, and I couldn't find my car afterwards. So anyway, about half an hour goes by. I'm thinking he must be ready to leave soon. So every time I saw a car leaving, I'm ducking and squatting behind cars in case Hocking comes out and sees me in the car park. So next minute I saw a bloke who worked at the league. He goes, do you want to jump in my car with me and I'll try and drive you around to try and find your car? I said, that'd be great.
Where did you bloody park?
Yeah. So anyway, by the
parking.
time I finally get into my car, turn the radio on, Tribunal news, Gary Hocking has been found not guilty of the charge of striking Matthew Lloyd. And then it hit me. I thought, why did I do that? Like, why did I bother trying to dob a player in or getting involved when it's led to nothing anyway? So I went back to just looking after players after that because it certainly wasn't worth it.
Now we're going to get back into the episode with Matthew Lloyd in just a second, but first, a quick word from our friends at CoinSpot.
Now, CoinSpot make crypto simple, and it's trusted by over 3 million people, D.
Head over to CoinSpot now for the easiest place to buy your Bitcoin in a world of other digital currencies.
Download the app today. Now let's get back into the episode with Lordo.
Talking about pinching and punching and all this sort of stuff, I mean, like you played in an era of unbelievable full forwards, but some pretty good full backs as well. Who used to give you a hard time? Did you ever have anyone that kind of got the best of you most times?
Yeah, well, when I first started, like the fear Mickey Martin put into me. Like I'm 78 kilos and Mick would have to have been 100.
Yeah.
And it was a back line of Mickey Martin. It was Martin Pike. It was guys like Johnny Blakey, Glenn Archer.
Yeah, it's a tough back.
Yeah, and I'm talking that. And not only were they tough, but verbally they would just hook in you. And Mickey would he'd mumble away. He'd mumble away. And
You understood him. Yeah.
And as I said, if I'd try and take a mark, the punches to the back of the head, or clumsily he'd act like he fell over and drive his knees into your back. So they were tricky. So I wouldn't have kicked more than one on Mickey for a while, but it wasn't until there he is. I got to my
He's a scary looking man.
Sheeds always said, you haven't made it till you've played 50 games. And I reckon I played on Mick on my 50th and I kicked 4 goals. And that was when I felt like I belonged. Ashley McIntosh was 100 kilos, but lightning quick. He was a tricky one early. Had some great battles with Steve Silvani. But Matthew Scarlett was the best I ever played on.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it about him?
Would you believe I played on him in his first and his second game?
Really?
So I played on him in the last round of, I must have been, 97, and then the first round of 98, and I kicked 6 and 6.
Yep.
And we were all in the showers after the game, and one of the players said to me, what about that bloke you've been playing on? How bad is he?
Oh, no.
No, 100%. And I said, I know. Wouldn't you love to play on him every week in your career? Yeah. And then, he was just, long shaggy hair, long sleeves, built like a pencil, and getting lost. And so then after he hit about, 20 or 30 games, I saw this nasty competitor who hated being beaten, and he was lightning quick, deceptively strong, and fullbacks used to get no possessions. And then he started running off, and they'd use him, and he'd kick it, and then he'd get another handball, and he'd kick it again. Before I know it, I look up and he's had 20 possessions. I'm thinking, dude, this guy is not only stops you from getting it, but he hurts you himself. So I felt like I started to worry about Matthew more than any other fullback that I've played on because of the damage he could do with the footy.
Yeah.
Plus, if I got a shot for goal, I thought I must kick this because I don't know where my next shot for goal is coming on Matthew Scarlett. So that's how highly I rated him, yeah.
There's conversations the last couple of years that the big forwards are kind of back.
Yeah.
And the 100-goal season could potentially be back. We've been close. You've kicked 100. You mentioned Mickey Martin. You kicked your 100th in the qualified final against North. Can you tell us what it's like kicking 100? It must be, not many get to do it.
No, it was something that does bring back amazing memories for me because I grew up not really barracking for a team, but idolising key forwards. So I used to love Ablett Senior and Dunstall and Lockett, and I actually ran out in 1994 for a Jason Dunstall 100 v the Crows.
Oh.
And so 6 years on, I'm in the position of kicking the 100 myself, and that's where the club was great. I got the yips in the 90s where I was kicking ones and twos and missing goals, and they flew me up to Sydney to spend an afternoon with Tony Lockett and talk about the mental side of trying to kick your 100 goals. But the euphoria of having your teammates jump on top of you, and then, I don't know, 20, 30,000 people jumping on top. It's as close to being a rock star. I'm talking like it's as close as it gets. But you also knew not to fall over because being trampled, the claustrophobia nature of it all, we had to link arms together.
Really?
And
prep for it,
and try and prepare yourself for it. So and then the second one, they were more prepared to get me off the ground and try and not stop the game for as long as it was, because North blokes were getting abused through it all. And
hip and shoulders.
Oh, here we go.
as well. But again, on
Nice
Mickey,
little lead.
yeah,
Mickey, any
Bit of
danger of
space.
putting an arm over you?
This was the best individual team performance I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
Like, we won by 25 goals against a good side, so plenty of ball was coming. But at three-quarter time, Sheedy says that we must clear the forward line out for Lloyd. We have to get this 100 done to not affect our prelim.
Yeah, of course.
So I've never been so nervous going into a quarter, because I knew Sheeds wanted this done to not be a distraction for us
It's so
to
crazy.
go on and win this premiership. But
It reminds me of like when Fraser Garrett kicked it in that,
Yeah.
I think it was 2004 in a prelim, and it almost halted momentum of the game.
yeah.
So it makes sense what Sheeds is saying, but look at that. They're coming from everywhere.
Barnesy?
Barnesy,
Yeah.
And as I said, I was bumping into schoolmates. I was bumping into my local teammates that I played for Avondale Heights with. My two brothers jumped the fence.
brothers as well?
Yeah, two brothers, and hugged my two brothers.
Oh,
So
they got to you.
they got to
That's
me,
incredible.
So,
What is it? Go rewind a little bit. The plugger thing. That's interesting. That they sent you up to Sydney specifically to talk to Tony Lockett. Like, what was behind that?
Yeah, so Plugger Lockett retired at the end of 99, so he wasn't playing. I know he came back out of retirement after that, but he wasn't playing. So someone from within the club actually could see the stress and the struggles that I was having, and it was just weighing on me too much. So they walked up to me and said, "Hey, we're flying you to Sydney tomorrow. It's a day off. You're going to spend an afternoon with Tony Lockett." And so, I just sat on his country property, and I would have spent 4 to 5 hours with him. I could see the joy he was getting out of it too. Like after he's saying, if you want to just get away from Melbourne and the pressure of football, you're just welcome into my place at any time. And and so his big thing was, why should 1 to 2 to 3 be any different from 97 to 98 to 99 to 100? Well, it's no different, but the mindset's different. So don't go looking for easy, soft goals. Don't go looking for cheap goals. Because that's not going to come. Like, just go back and watch your first 3 or 4 of the season, and how you got them is how you're going to get your last lot. And take the number out of it. And so he just gave me some really good things to think about. And then at the AFL Hall of Fame, he was inducted as a legend, a number of years ago, and I waited, and I went up to him and I said, "I just want to thank you for what you did for me." And he cleared out the 50 others who were waiting and said, "Can you please leave? I just want 5 minutes with Matthew." And we just, again, had 5 minutes together where I just thanked him and we talked. So he just sort of took me under his wing a fair bit. And still, if I see him to this day, he's like that towards me. So it was a great moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome insight on Plugger, because you don't hear much. But you mentioned like getting the yips for 1 year. But then like my memories of you playing, mate, was, not being an Essendon fan, is every time Lloyd marks his goals, you're like, fuck's sake, here we go again. How do you, and you talked about mindset, but how do you actually shift that difference between the mindset of, okay, what I could potentially miss this versus I'm going to kick it? Like, how do you actually work through that?
Yeah, one of the things I take great pride in is you saying that, because I was a shocking kick when I got to the club. Shocking. Like, I'm talking bent knee, stabbing at the football, no routine, So I got drafted on talent, and you get drafted. I talk about Joey Danaher. Joey Danaher gets drafted because he's such a talented player, but he comes to Essendon, he's got no routine either. So, but you get away with it. Junior football, you can have 10 shots, you kick 6 goals 4 or 4 goals 6, you get away with it. But you get to AFL level, you're not getting gifted any shot, so you got to make the most of them. So I walked in. I was living at home in Avondale Heights with my parents for the first 4 years of my career, and I'd just drop my bags, hold it all in, and then I'd just burst out crying and just say, "Hey, I've kicked another 2 goals 6, or I've kicked another 1-7." So I had a period of 2 weeks where I reckon I kicked about 3 goals 9, 3-10, cost us a couple of games, and after I cried a bit, my parents were like, "Well, what are you going to do about it? You know, it's all good and well to be upset, but what are you going to change?" And so I walked into the office of the best technical coach at the club, David Whedon, and then the sports psychologist tapped on his door and said, "Hey, you're the best at the technical side, and you're the best at working with my mind. When do we start, and how do we start?"
Wow.
And pretty much had to retrain myself. And that's where obviously the grass throwing and all that came about, and taking 45 seconds to lower my heart rate. The sports psych was helping me kick through the ball. Dave Whedon put Plugger on one half of the screen, me on the other half, and frame by frame showed that Lockett's ball drop was here. My ball drop was so high, so I was tumbling the ball out of my hand.
Wow.
So I couldn't do anything about it that season, but then the next off season came around. I'm talking six months of just day after day after day after day. And I went from my first 50 games was, gee, I hope I don't miss my first shot, because I may not want to have another shot. So I was mentally just scared of getting the ball sometimes, because I was worried I was going to miss my next one. And from 50 to 270 games I knew exactly what I was doing at every moment. And if I missed one, I knew why I missed it. Yep. And I could coach myself out on the MCG and felt pretty bulletproof with it. So it was incredible. It was a big turnaround, yeah.
How'd you go with that balance? And we'll probably I want to just jump out quickly to say some mentoring. I know you mentored Max King for a little bit while you were in the media, and hearing that it was somewhat of a bit of a challenge, because Max is playing missing shots at goal, but the camera is panning straight to you while you're trying to work on 3AW. Like the challenge between coaching but also being in the media in that specific goal kicking element.
Yeah, it was a massive challenge. So I had the King twins when I coached at Haileybury, and I'd just talk to them over the phone. But the one you're talking about was Joe Danaher. So I had I love coaching, and so I thought to myself, I want to go back and I'll do it in a small way. So I wrote to about 10 clubs, all the Victorian clubs, and said to them, goal kicking is a massive problem. It doesn't get coached properly, and I think I can help your football club. So so Nathan Buckley got in touch with me, and also James Hurd. So I went and sat down with the 2 clubs, and then my heart was with Essendon. So I went back there, and Joey was going to be the first real project of trying to help. But yeah, as you said, in the media box, it was being panned. I had no issues with them panning on me, because that's all part of the story. When Joey's having a shot, his coach is up there calling his game. But I felt like on Footy Classified, Hutchie would say, "You're an employee of the Bombers, so what's your thoughts on that? They've just lost 4 in a row." And I was being pretty much, you're doing it for peanuts. It was really, whereas I'm getting paid very well to be in the media. So I got to round 18 and I thought, what am I doing? As good as this has been, why would I jeopardise a career that I've got in the media for this? As much as I enjoyed it, the two couldn't mix. And being a prominent person in the media, maybe others who have got lower roles in the media can get away with it. But I knew very early on that I'd made a mistake. And as much as it was a good itch to scratch, I needed to end it. And that's why I only did it for the 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, jumping to probably a different area. I mean, Josh was telling me this story. I never heard it before. It was incredible. But the spleen injury.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us, take us back, into that day and what actually happened? Because, it was something that was completely new to me, and it's just a crazy story.
Yeah, so I'm 18 years of age, and I'm playing in a preliminary final in my first season for the Bombers. So
is this the Lockett point?
The Lockett point, yeah. Sorry, my second season in 1996, and so I'm 18 years of age, and so Lockett point where we lose, I wasn't there to see it because I was in hospital. It was probably the most intense game of football I've been a part of. I was playing my 16th game of AFL footy. Sheeds just loved giving opportunities to kids. So he played me and I played, and I'd had one possession, I think, halfway through the second quarter. And I grew up loving Wayne Carey, Gary Ablett Sr., those Sticks Kernahan. And I often would think, what would they do in this situation? Even though I'm 80 kilos and not 100 like them, I thought they would try and impart themselves physically and will themselves into the game. So just happened to see Mark Bays, a beautiful left footer from the Sydney Swans, come running. Thought I'm going to try and run through him here. And as I bump him, my elbow came back into my spleen, and I just was heavily winded. Came off a few times. And I kept saying to the docs, I can hardly breathe here. They thought it was partly nerves, winded. You'll be okay. Mm-hmm. And then it's half time. She's just trying to talk to us, and I felt like I was drifting in and out of not conscious. I was getting very sleepy. Little did I know that my spleen had ruptured. And there was 1.5 litres of blood that was just coming down.
Is this the hit here?
This is it. Yeah. So there I was, and just sort of tried to bump. And so,
it looks pretty innocuous.
And then you just see, I just grab my. You see, as I'm just jogging off after here, you'll just see I grab my left side as I'm running.
Yeah.
You just grab for it, and so What happened was they sent me to a King's Cross hospital on it was either a Friday or a Saturday night, and it was just full of drug addicts, drug addicts. And there I am in amongst these drug addicts. They filled me with morphine. They said, "Can you hop?" And I hopped. And they said, "How you feeling?" I said, "Oh, I'm actually feeling a bit better." And they said, "You're right to go back to your hotel." So I was in the hotel room. The morphine was wearing off, and I'm starting to feel a lot of pain. And so my mum and dad were up for the game. They were sitting beside me. I said, "Can you guys leave? But before you leave, can you help me get to the toilet?" So my dad and mum helped lift me to get to the toilet, and I just passed blood. So they call the doctor, and then I'm just writhing on the bed by this stage, just in agony. And Dr. Bruce Reid just said, "Just stop for 1 second and just listen to me." And he said, "Have you got shoulder pain?" And I stopped. I said, "My shoulder's killing me." He goes, "Get him to the hospital. He's got a ruptured spleen." So that's one of the symptoms of a ruptured spleen. So there I was for the next 9 days. They said the good news is we feel you can save your spleen. The bad news is you've got to tough this out for the next 7 to 10 days. So the screaming, that you wouldn't want it on your worst enemy. The pain of a ruptured spleen was just horrendous. So I lost 8 to 10 kilos. Couldn't do anything for 3 months. Didn't get picked for round 1 of the next season because of that, yeah.
Well, the quote from Bruce Reid, out of all the players I've had in 30 years, that was the most frightening injury he's ever seen.
Yeah, because he knew that if my parents didn't help me to the toilet and I just went to sleep or somehow, because the pain was that bad, I would have struggled to get to sleep. But I would have died that night, yeah. Yeah. So that's how serious it was.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, it kind of makes you... I don't know what that clip is from, Sammy, is when Christian Petrarca went through his traumatic injury, you know. It's backing into a pack. It's courageous, but like when you talk about injuries like that, you're like it's footy in life. You know?
That's right. And I think whether I was younger, but Christian seemed to really struggle afterwards mentally. It just affected him really strong mentally, and it got ugly between the club and him, and how they didn't handle it maybe as well as they should have, and they sent him back onto the ground. But I was able to amazingly just the pain, and I lost heaps of weight, and I had to rebuild myself. But I was able to just jump back on the horse pretty well after it when I got back the year after.
Who were the teams you loved playing against? Like you knew you were in for a good day. And I know like you kicked I wanted to bring up the Swans because you kicked a massive bag of 13 against the Swans. Was it 13?
13, yeah.
You know, who were some of the other teams that you just licked your lips?
Well, I was one of those players, Dos, that never ever felt that I was going to go out there and even though if you thought, sometimes early in a game I could say this player's positioning isn't good, he's not playing me too well, I reckon I'm going to have a good day. But I never ran out onto the ground and thought, gee, I'm going to kick 10 today. I was never one of those types. That I was more the opposite. Had to really had a lot of anxiety pre-game, and I was nervous, and the legs were like jelly or cement, one of the two, trying until I got my first kick and settled into the game. But there's nothing better than you've done 4 or 5 pre-seasons, and I went from 78 kilos to 92 kilos. I got strong, I got quick, I got my goal kicking right, I felt my hands were strong, and then I felt like the gap between my best and worst was pretty small, and even on your bad days weren't too bad. So I used to 4 was my break even. I used to aim for 4 goals a game. Anything under that was a fail. And I used to love aiming for 5+. That's
Four's a great game.
No, it is
today.
now. Yeah, it is today. But I know the opposition used to say if we can keep him to 4, we've beaten him. So I heard Lee Matthews was someone who came out on I reckon it was before the grand final of 01, and he said if we can keep Lloyd to 4, we feel we've won. So that stuck with me for the rest of my life. That okay, that's what they see. So that's what I've got to try and 5's the aim to try and beat them.
Well, there's 3 teams that come to mind for me when like one we want to touch on the North rivalry. Just the Bombers and North in those kind of 90s. The Hawks for obvious reasons. Essendon and Hawthorn don't like each other. And now I've gone completely blank on the third one. Oh, Brisbane. Brisbane was the other one. And one thing I was interested to hear about was the no rules game going back to Sheeds. And what are your memories of that?
So you told which the...
I think it was 2002, and Sheeds came out and prepaid the AFL worth of fines, and he told you guys there would be no rules.
Yeah.
And
I know leading up to the grand final of 2000, there was certainly no rules in terms of after what happened in 1999.
Yep.
Like he had no issues with what went on. So some of the things that Dean Wallace, I think, broke Brad Green's jaw nice and early. Michael Long nearly broke Troy Simmons' neck with a hip and shoulder. So Sheed showed, I think, the games leading up that the Melbourne boys used to wheel their bags in like suitcases to games and go, look at these blokes, look how soft they are. They won't even carry their own bags. So simple things like that.
That's so good.
They was trying to
that's
say,
gold.
look at these, like, how can they beat you blokes?
Wow.
We'll pretty much bash them and beat them up. And so there I was, like an all-in brawl started after Long got Simmons, and I go charging in, and I got there, and I've never been in a fight in my life. So I get there, and suddenly David Swartz starts sizing me up, so I'm backing away as fast as I possibly can.
He's a big man.
Yeah, he's a big man. But and then as you touched on some of those rivalries, so there was early days when Gary O'Donnell got us in. He was vice captain. Bomber Thompson was captain when I first got drafted, and Gary said to myself, Scott Lucas, Justin Blumfield, Chris Heffernan, Blake Carosella, we're all drafted together. He said, just understand how much we hate Carlton.
Right.
So that was my first one, that we must beat Carlton. And then the rivalry with North really grew, and it was absolute hatred. And they felt we were the guys with the silver spoons in our mouths because they thought the Windy Hill compared to Arden Street, that we had everything. We didn't have much, but they felt we had more than them. So it was fierce, and they would bash us. And so in the 2000 Ansett Cup, it was, I don't know, it must have been 80,000 people, North v Essendon.
That's crazy.
And Robert Shaw packaged up a video of them bullying us, and it was Glenn Archer dragging Hurd around by the hair. It was Mickey Martin punching me and dropping his knees in, and different moments. And they razzed us up to the eyeballs for what that game meant to us. And then Jason Johnson, hip and shoulders, John Blakey. There was a centre cricket wicket because the wicket was still in. Yeah. Blakey's trying to get off it, and he couldn't. And Jason Johnson lines him up, and it was one of the biggest bumps I've ever seen. Out cold. There was another player out cold, and we won the game. And that was when we thought, okay, finally we've got beaten North in a way with brutality, with skill. And then I don't think anyone was ever going to beat us that year. And obviously it did finish with Hawthorn late in the career.
So by the sounds of it, Sheeds was a real motivator. Like he pre-game, he used different parts of the opposition as fuel. Yeah,
he did. And even like this one where I'm at the toilet urinal, and he comes up and he goes to the urinal beside me, and he goes, hey, he said, the other selectors have you in the gun this week. They want to drop you. And I said, are you serious? He said, yeah, but I want you in my team. So you want to play, but just let you know that they wanted you gone, but your coach is backing you. So I kick a few goals. So I'll go up to one of the selectors, say, you're going to drop me, were you? He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, I've never heard anything like that. So he said, so he'd do things like that, or he'd say, but he also, what I loved about him was he'd come up to me and go, didn't have your best game today, but he said, you're a champ and you're going to kick me 5 goals next week. You're going to do it because you're a champ. And so I'd feel sick in the guts about the way I played, but then he'd fill me with that much by the end of it that I couldn't wait for the game the next week. And that's where I did struggle with Nida after that, because Sheeds just had the way with picking you up. No matter how disappointed he was in you, he could make you feel good. Whereas I felt pretty small under Knight in my last couple of years.
I was literally going to ask about Matthew Knight, mainly just because coming into a club that has been, like, how long was Sheedy there? 25 years or something like that. So to come in and then now everything you've ever known at AFL level now gets flipped under a new person that's trying to create a new whatever standard or way forward. What's it like for you as at that stage, you're late in your career? How'd you go in those couple of years?
I was excited at the start because Sheeds was my coach for 13 years, and so you're looking for a bit of a fresh voice and a fresh change. But I could see pretty early on that Matthew was. We were ingrained with what Sheeds wanted, so Nida was struggling and was often quite frustrated with the guys who had been under Sheeds for as long as I had, that we weren't doing the things that he wanted us to do. So could see he was frustrated. We were frustrated with him. So some will say that whoever filled those shoes were always going to struggle after Kevin Sheedy, but I just personally felt he sort of probably ripped the guts out of it in terms of retiring guys who could have helped him, senior core players. The list got too young, and then they struggled for that period.
Did you feel like your leadership was kind of impacted based on that the new coach? Like you couldn't be yourself as the leader you always were before that?
Yeah, I never showed that side. I showed a strong side for my players and was always there for them, but deep down, I was driving home and confiding in family and that I was as vulnerable as anybody about my position in the team and where I stood, and maybe feeling like that I'm in a bit of trouble under this, and that I wasn't happy, and I was pretty miserable, to be honest. It was a real grind, and so it was a really, really tough last couple of years. And I think that build up to the Hawthorn game with Sewell, I was in a pretty bad space where I knew that my time was over at the club. I didn't want to be in that environment anymore. And so it was either retire or go and find a new club. So that's how I was feeling heading into that last game of footy.
Did you ever look at other clubs? Was there ever serious offers that you entertained? Or
probably at that time, that I was such a loyal. Your one club, and my wife was like, "You've still got good football in you. Like, don't do this, don't do this." And so there were 4 clubs that were eyeing off a full forward, and so Collingwood, Carlton, Western Bulldogs, and the Sydney Swans. And so I was on the back page of the Herald Sun, digitally enhanced in a Collingwood jumper. And
how did you think you looked in that one?
Yeah, and so
I think I remember that.
Yeah, and actually my phone rang. I didn't have the number in my phone. I go, "Hello." And it was the person who goes, "Geez, you look good in black and white." And he goes, "Lloydy, it's Eddie Maguire here. How you going?" So they were, and so I was so mentally exhausted. I said to them all, "Thanks, but no thanks." And then I called my first grand final on SEN of the 2010 grand final, which Collingwood won. And at 7 o'clock, I was all getting set to pack up my stuff, and I heard a bit of a ruckus. And there it was Nick Maxwell walking out with a cup with 21 players behind him. And I sat back down in my chair, and they put the cup in the centre circle, and they all wrapped arms, and they started belting out the song. And I thought, I could have been in this premiership side. So that was probably the first time. But then I quickly thought, well, I would have had to do a massive pre-season. There's injuries, and there's all the tough things. It's a tough business playing AFL footy. So. But it did hit me then, thinking, I just wonder, could I have taken longer to think about the decision rather than rashly retiring? But I am overall pretty comfortable with it, being a one-club player.
Yeah, God, I'm just picturing you in that team. Yeah. I'm like, that was such a good team too.
It was Dawes and Clark were the 2 key forwards in that.
Yeah, Dawes and Clark,
team.
that's it.
Yeah.
But the Swans came hard earlier in your career, didn't they? They offered you a pretty big deal.
Well, it was the week that I kicked 13 goals that the AFL had approached my management at the time and just said, we need somebody that brings people through the gates, and that we want Matthew to be it after Tony Lockett. So it was round 3 of 99. Tony Lockett was looking to retire at the end of 99, and they said, we want Matthew to be the face of the game in Sydney and want him to be the glamour full forward for them, and what will it take? But at that stage, I grew up around the suburbs of Essendon. I was just so happy, just absolutely loved it. Like I walked into a club, and you look at today's players, and they walk in, and there's a couple. There might be a Bont, and there's a few good players, but I walked into Michael Long, Gavin Wanganeen, James Hurd, Dustin Fletcher, Gary O'Donnell, Mark Bomber Thompson, and I'm missing a lot here. I'm forgetting Mark Harvey. Yeah, it just went on and on and on. Just superstars. Mark McCurry, Joe Mercedes. They were everywhere. So I just knew I didn't want to be anywhere else but the Bombers.
Yeah. Well, speaking of glamour full forward, Sammy, get that photo up of Lloydy. I'm sure I know this photo's done the rounds quite a bit, but we talk about appeal, and this probably appeals more to our female audience now. Man. the old calendar shoot. Here we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Talk us through this. Who talked you into this, and what was the backlash from the boys?
Well, yeah, you did cop it, absolutely. But I copped it more from the Sunday Footy Show crew than anything. But back then it was like I wasn't paid a lot of money, and they come along and said, "Hey, there's $1,500 if you want to be a month in a calendar, and free drinks at Frostbites in Chapel Street." So that was all it took to get me to. But they were lathering that much oil all over me.
Well, in this era of social media, do you think if Instagram was big back then, would that have been your profile picture?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm actually thinking of getting it up as my new profile picture. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, that's all right. It looks good.
Yeah. One thing, I don't think people, because it's not around anymore, but the international rules, you got to experience that. Yeah. You went over to Ireland, and back then it was the actual All-Australian team, wasn't it?
It was,
like the best of the best were picked. They went over together as a side. What were your memories of going and doing that? Because it's something I feel like would be great to see again. Yeah,
it became like just punch-ons before that. So they banned it because guys like Dipper and these guys, everyone was just looking for fights, and it became a bad spectacle. So I was just fortunate that my first year of being an All-Australian was just coincided that the series returned. So there I was. I was only.
That young. Looks like it's on your chest, Lloyd.
Yeah, a bit hard to mark the round ball.
So I was 20 years of age. This is 1998, and there it was Nathan Buckley, it was Wayne Carey, it was Stephen Silvani, and to jump on a plane, it was tough for me because I was by far and away the youngest player in the team, and you're trying to. Mix with guys who you looked up to, and I'd only played maybe 50 or 60 games. But to go to Croke Park, I don't know how many it holds, but 70 or 80,000 packed, absolutely packed. And late in the game, David Neitz did you could tap goals in for 6 points, and he did that, and we won by a point, I think it was. So we're back at the hotel, and Wayne Carey pressured Wayne Jackson, who was the boss of the AFL, to put his credit card down on the bar. So it was pretty much a free-for-all for that night. So Dipper was there as the person to, he was this
was he?
For the environment, really. That's his job, was there to do that.
Personality hire.
Yeah, and so it was turned into a footy trip, I must admit, for the next week because we won that first test. Yeah. Lee Matthews was the coach, and he got us in the night before, and he said, "Guys, you've gone that hard. Can you just stay in? Can you just stay in tonight to do the right thing?" So, anyway, Wayne Carey, half an hour later, he's tapping on everyone's doors, kitted up, saying, "You ready to go out again, boy?" So I'm the youngest in the team. I thought, well, if Carey's the best, I'm going to follow. So we got home at about 2-3 in the morning.
Night before the game.
The night before the game, and we were an embarrassment.
No.
And so after that, they said that will never ever happen again. That you blokes will treat this like a footy trip.
It's interesting you're talking about it because we've just had State of Origin this year, but back then, you talk about Wayne Carey. So we talked about the rivalry between North. Lee Matthews is your coach. What was it like to get together with this group of rivals and go to the other side of the world?
I loved it, and the joy I got to have 97, 98, 99 playing the last 3 games for Victoria as well. That they are some of my fondest memories, and probably playing for Victoria because my Avondale Heights footy jumper was the big V, and then to play the real stuff for Victoria and against South Australia and the passion. like it was a great experience playing international rules. But for me, playing for Victoria, I just absolutely loved it. You know, playing Teal Cup, and you'd come up through the ranks playing with representative players, so to build relationships with guys like, you know, Brad Johnson's a great mate of mine, playing for Victoria together. I roomed, you know, I've roomed with Big Fish, Paul Salmon. They used to have a rule that you couldn't sleep for more than 20 minutes the day of a game because you go into a deep sleep, so your cycles change. So you can't, the day of a game, sleep more than 20 minutes. So I stuck by that. So I'm rooming with Paul Salmon before we play against South Australia. He starts shutting the blinds. And I said, I'll set the alarm for 20 minutes, Fish. He goes, oh, no, I'll just sleep as long as I feel like sleeping. I said, really? He goes, yeah, I don't care about that stuff. So after that, we both slept an hour. And from that point on, I just slept as long as I needed to. I didn't worry about the cycles of sleep and all those sorts of things. And I played with Buddha Hocking and some of the passes that I got from – I used to struggle with Wakeland from St Kilda because he used to stand 10 metres out in front of me, and he used to frustrate me a bit because he'd cut off my leads. He tried it that night against South Australia, but the passes that were coming in from Robert Harvey, Buddha Hocking, Chris Grant, I got off to a pretty good start, kicking 3 in the first quarter. Yeah.
You touched on the Brad Sewell incident, and obviously that ended up being your last game. What are your memories of that day and the moment? And did you know once you hit that was it?
I hadn't played for 5 weeks leading into that game. I went up against Richmond, late in the year for a mark, and I came down and I bruised my heel, and I couldn't put a footy boot on after that. So that's how painful the bruised heel was. So I knew my days were done with Essendon, but my dream was to lead Essendon into a final series. And going into that game, it was Hawthorn Essendon. Whoever won made the final. So I was able to pass a fitness test under a fair bit of pain still. Every time I turned, I felt like a knife was being jammed into my heel. So I wasn't fit. I wasn't, as I said, in a great mindset. But I wanted to play finals, and I wanted to play one more time for the Bombers. And we were flat for whatever reason. With so much at stake, the team was super flat, and we were down by 4 goals at halftime. They had no Lance Franklin. They had no Jared Ruffhead. They had some key players out, and we were raging favourites to win that game. And when we got in at halftime, Nida went really hard, and I felt like I was the brunt of a fair bit of it. And I was playing poorly, so you got to expect to cop it a little bit. I'd only had a handful of possessions. And we're walking up the race, and Nathan Lovett-Murray was one and said, "We're just that flat, Lloydy. You know, we're just flat." And he just said to me, "I reckon you're the man. Like, you're the one that is the one that can turn this around." And he wasn't meaning anything. That he was like, whether that's just a goal or it could be to razz the group up. We just need something. So Sam Mitchell was really troubling us with his mastery around stoppage. So my aim was to come off the line. Hopefully there was either I could get him then with a big tackle, or there could be another ball up. And I was going to just try and razz Sam Mitchell up to try and stimulate the players. But it just happened that we won the stoppage. And so McVeigh dribbled it forward, and Brad Sewell was coming my way. And I knew that if you hit someone in the head, the rules are the same as they are now, you're gone. So I tried to lower, didn't lower enough. My shoulder hits him in the cheekbone, and he was in a seriously bad way.
Yeah. Well, I know you've seen this a million times. Yeah.
So I knew exactly what I was doing. Didn't want to hit him in the head. I did want to hurt him. I wanted to hurt him straight down the front, down the chest. And then you go into survival mode. Like, they were coming at me from all parts. And for the next 2 quarters, it was old school football where they were going up. Chance Bateman actually knocks me out with a big round arm. Round arm late in the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Adam McPhee's never ever far from these
no.
Yeah, you always said the blonde 33.
Yeah. So, and then the story afterwards was, as I said, we kicked the next 8 goals. So it certainly got the response. They were rattled. I was rattled, but our players responded to it. But late in the game, I could sense that there was real venom towards me from the Hawthorn fans. Spectators were working their way down to the front rows, and they were screaming at me and all that sort of thing. And I thought to myself, am I safe for finishing on the bench? And then I thought to myself, it'd look pretty weak if I did that after what I've just done.
Yeah.
So the siren goes, all the players are okay towards me. But then as I hand a footy to a kid, I turned back around, and that's when Clarko and I locked eyes. And he was just working his way into my direction. He said, "You better not effing retire because we want to see you next year." And then he tried to work his way towards me physically, where Mark Evans, the footy bosses, have to physically push him away from me. Got down into the rooms. Boys were pumped. We're playing finals. I'm in the shower. I see police, and they said, "Get out of the shower." And the police said, "We need to escort you to your car because there's so many people, Hawthorn people, there's venom towards you. We've got to help you get to your car." And then they escorted me to my car, and it was 1 to 7. I turned on the radio, and they said, it was Hamish McLaughlin on Triple M, and he said, "It's been a massive day at the MCG, one of the biggest and emotional days we've seen, but we'll give the final word to Campbell Brown, who's just spoken moments earlier." And he said, "Matty Lloyd's been one of the biggest snipers for a long time. His time is coming, and so we want to see him next year as well." And so, and then to fast forward, during that week, I got 6 weeks. I took an early plea to 4 weeks, and then we're in a pub. The boys got knocked out, got beaten by 90 points by the Crows, and we're in a pub. I got a tap on the shoulder, and Tommy Bell Chambers, he goes, "Have a look at the door." And there was Campbell Brown, Hodge, Lewis, all walking into the same pub as us. So Tommy Bell Chambers again. I said to him, "Mate, I'm not a fighter," and his response was, "I just throw one and let me take care of the rest." So anyway,
just throw one.
So yeah, because he was looking forward to it. Big Tommy. So I'm holding the drink in one hand. I've got the arm ready to go, and then he just puts his hand out, Hodgie, and he just says, "Hey, I just want to let you know we've embarrassed ourselves as a club the last week." He said, "What happens on the field should stay on the field. Sour grapes, in my opinion, that we lost a game of footy, and in some we haven't handled ourselves too well. So let's just enjoy a good afternoon." So it was a mentally absolutely exhausting period.
Of course.
The club was desperately trying to get me to keep playing. They offered me a new contract. I knew I was done.
Dermy give you a call?
Yeah, and that's right. I missed that. So I received had the same number for 20 years, and I was receiving, sometimes I still get it now, where you get people who ring and abuse you, or just silly stuff. They've had a few drinks and like sitting around at home, and they'll just say stuff. But I've never wanted to change my phone number, and I was getting that much abuse, and it was some abusive calls about what I did. And then I've got one from James Hird. James Hird said, "Hey, Lloydy, I was in the crowd today. Don't go to many games anymore." But something needed to change, and that was one of the great acts of leadership that I've seen by a Bomber player. And then the second one was, "Hey, Lloydy, it's Derm." He said, "I hate Essendon," but he said, "It was one day I wish I was wearing the red and black with what you did today." He said it was amazing. So,
and that's come from the man who pushed the line in the sand as well.
I know, it didn't surprise me that Derm loved it because of the way he played the game. But they were probably two calls that helped get me through. But things happen for a reason. So the night they played Adelaide in the losing final the week after, my wife's waters broke, and I was watching the last quarter of the game while we're having our second child. So I was able to see the birth of our second child the night they lost that following week.
Yeah.
Well, you ready to go into Coin Spot?
Yeah. Well, On the Spot is brought to you by our good mates at CoinSpot, the best and easiest way to buy and sell your crypto.
Yes.
And you can buy Bitcoin for as little as $1.
That's right. Over 500 cryptocurrencies can be bought, sold, traded on CoinSpot, the number one place to go, Dos.
Download the app today. Now, Lloydy, this is like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style segment. So we've got a multiple choice.
Okay.
We want you to lock one in. So what is the biggest non-finals game that you've played in your career? Was it A, the no rules match against Brisbane? B, the line in the sand v Hawthorn? C, the great comeback versus North Melbourne? Or D, the 2000 Doggies breaking the streak?
C, the North Melbourne comeback. I think it's the game that from a home and away perspective, I get asked the most about.
Really?
Yeah. Just people that were there. I've had even I've listened back to the commentary of it. Rexy Hunt going crazy on 3AW, but yeah, just to do what we did that day probably cost us a bit in the end because we believed we could win from anywhere because we came back from so much. But North were a great side, we were a great side, and to come back from that far still is my favourite one.
Do you have any memories of that day? What was set? Like, how did you? Nearly 70 points down.
I do. I don't remember many addresses, but I do remember that Sheeds was so angry. We were 50 odd down. I think it was 58 at quarter time, but then they kicked the first 2 after quarter time as well. But he was coming down the race, Sheeds, red in the face, I reckon ready to explode, and Sheeds just goes, Hurdy goes, Sheeds, can I just have them? And he said, we're not going well at the contest. We're second to the ball. We're not hard enough. And look at the scoreboard. It's 58 points. We're not going to get it all back in one go. But I'm going to set us a challenge. So we're 58 points. Let's halve it. So let's be 30 points down at halftime. That's be the aim. Then we're going to be 15 points down at 3/4 time, and then we're going to come home in this last quarter and win this game of football. And this is how we're going to do it. And he changed the whole narrative of 58 points down. He set benchmarks, and to be honest, we stuck to them. We got back to all the things that he spoke of, and we didn't try and do it in one go. We knew that we had another 90 minutes to do it. So that's something that made James Hird, a great captain. And great by Sheeds to allow the captain to speak. And Sheeds stopped. He didn't berate us because he heard what Hirdy had done and how it galvanised us to go, okay, let's do it.
What was it like after that game? Do you remember?
We started to get a few injuries where Hirdy had a groin problem, Mark McCurry had a groin problem. So people, it eats away at me that we didn't win 2 premierships in those 3 years. But I'm more upset on the 99.
Oh, well, sorry. That was poor questioning for me. I probably meant more the celebrations after you win that night after you come back from. Do you remember?
Great. Like it's Steve Alessio used to have a restaurant, and we used to go back there, a pizza pasta restaurant, and we'd go back there and just enjoy. And back in those days, like it was sort of social. You could go out and you could get home when you need to, and you go and have a few drinks. And it actually helped me, to be honest. I wasn't a big drinker, but we'd go on interstate trips, and I'd have a shocker. And sometimes he'd say, "Come out and have a drink. It'll make you feel better." Because you don't go back and sit in your room and think about how you've just played a poor game. Come out and have a drink. And so, it'd be amazing how it would help me get on with things. And so I thought we felt invincible though after that, geez, we've just come back from that. We can come back from anywhere. But little did we know that Brisbane, Voss, Black, Ackermanis, Brown, Scott boys, the list goes on and on and on. They were a superstar team that were too good for us by the finals time of that year.
What a team. Well, I think it's time we give Lloydy a bit of his own medicine.
Yes.
He's always giving out goodies on the Sunday Footy Show to all the footballers that come through. I think it's time he receives his gifts today.
Sammy, do you want to start? Yeah, start with the milkman. We always like to start with the milkman, Dos.
Milkman are all things male grooming, Lloydy. So you've got I'm sure you put a bit of product in your hair.
I do.
They're everything to do with beard care, hair care, deodorant, aftershave, and everything in between for all the blokes out there. So head to milkmanaustralia.com for 20% off. Use the code dos&d.
What's in there, Lloydy? Because sometimes they like to mix it up. I think they've got a new cologne range at the moment. I'm interested to see if they send through.
That's it.
Deodorant.
That's
there you
it.
go.
It's natural
Yeah,
deodorant.
we got
Some other stuff.
aftershave.
Oh, there you go. There's some
Beautiful.
aftershave. Beautiful.
Thank you.
No, the milkman are very good. We'll bring out Tommy's next. Now, this is what we like, Dos. Tommy's made from our mates here in Melbourne. Italian-style liquors and spritzers. They're here for a good time, just like the boys that make it. And these spritzers here, we've got the mandarin, we've got the raspberry and the lemon. They're beautiful, made on a nice summer's day. Or, well, now they're going into winter, maybe just to wind down after a day on
footy season, mate.
Footy season. They go to an absolute...
He loves these drinks. The Volcano.
The Volcano.
Loves the spritzers,
Loves the spritz.
After a show.
Oh, there you
Everyone
go.
will have a beer and he's drinking these.
He's going the spritzers.
Yeah, spritzers, yeah.
Well, tommysbrews.com.au, and everyone to go check them out. You can use the code dos&d15 for 15% off, or they are in selected venues across Melbourne too.
Perfect. And then
We've got the GCO balls as well. So Lloydy's about to take part in a chipping challenge. We're looking forward to seeing how Lloydy's golf game is going, but they've just sent you home with some balls. You're about to play with them for a much bigger prize after the show. But GCO have looked after you there too, mate. But like we said, we've got something bigger and better coming shortly. But now we want to do something very special is we're going to introduce...
This is the first time we've done this.
We've done it. And he's coming in with a gift as well. So Dan's going to come in. We're going to give him a mic as well, because we're launching this for the first time. So Dan's coming in. Here he is.
Hey, Dan. Hey. Good, thanks.
So Dan is from Freddy's Pizza we're in Windsor on Chapel Street. And Dan, maybe tell us a bit more about Freddy's.
Can I give Matty the pizza first?
Yeah, give him the pizza.
It smells good.
It smells good. It's genuinely hot, fresh out of the oven.
Which one is it? Which one is it,
We're on
brother?
a classic mug.
Classic
margarita.
Can you get a hard shot on that, Bryce, on the pizza? 'Cause there we go.
There we go.
I am. I'm a bit. It is lunchtime.
There we go,
Lloydy.
Lloydy. Yeah, good man.
So tell us a bit more about Freddy's, mate. We went and had a meal there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's thank you. It can be at times. We've had 7 years in now. Little pizza place, pizza pasta. Myself and my business partner Tom. It's been an absolute ball. Great roller coaster up and down. But it's Chapel Street. Never a dull moment. Open 7 days. Lunches, dinners on Saturday and Sunday.
And then you're part of the dos&d show now for the next 6 months.
We're absolutely stoked to be a part of you guys. You guys absolutely love what you do. Love the guests you bring on. Massive footy tragics as well. Shout out to the Saints. But yeah, so it's great to be involved.
Perfect, mate.
Well, we're very excited to have you guys on board. Thank you for looking after our guests for the next few months with Tommy's and
Beautiful. It's my daughter's favourite pizza, and she's homesick today, so I'll take her
there you
out for her lunch if that's all right.
the rest of the room is quite deflated by that statement, but that's okay.
It's more in the back of the boys. Don't worry about that.
Well, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Well, that was good, mate.
awesome.
This has been unbelievable. I've had the best time. Lordo, thank you so much, mate. We've had a ball. Thank you for being so open. The stories you share are just unbelievable. And now we're looking forward to actually getting over to the golf clearance outlet chipping challenge.
No, thanks. I've followed you since you asked me to come on. I've actually enjoyed what you've both been doing in other chats. So well done on what you're both achieving as well.
Thanks,
Appreciate
mate.
it, Lloydy. Let's go have a swing. Well, Lloydy, that was a lot of fun, the podcast, and now it's time for the Golf Clearance Outlet Chipping Challenge. Before we get into it, how's your golf game going?
Oh, I love my cricket, but I don't play golf, so my golf game is non-existent.
You'd said 3 broken ribs playing cricket, you just said. That was interesting.
Dropped the catch and broke 3 ribs. That was a disaster.
Well, mate, what you're going to do is you're going to be having 5 chips at the board here. Now, if you happen to be the clubhouse leader after 6 months, you go into Golf Clearance Outlet, the store, and just shop as much as you like. Take anything off the shelves for the value of $500. But we're really looking forward to seeing how you go. For anybody out there, Golf Clearance Outlet is the place to go for the biggest brands and the lowest prices. You can get absolutely anything you need there, whether you're just beginning like us or you're a seasoned pro. So make sure you head to Golf Clearance Outlet either online or in one of their stores. But now, Lloydy, let's see what you've got, mate. Go for it.
I'll be happy to land one.
Let's see how he goes with the first one. Matthew Lloyd. Oh, we're on the board, but is that a 0, boys?
Yep.
Now, before you take the next one, Lloydy, who's your toughest teammate you played with?
Toughest as in physically tough?
Yeah, physically tough.
I'd say Damien Hardwick.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There's him and Dean Solomon, probably.
Yeah, okay.
A nice tie between those two.
Like it.
Yeah.
Shot number 2. Oh, -10. -10, but we're on the board, which is good. Who is the best person when you're leading out a full forward to hit you up? What made your eyes light up?
You didn't play a lot of footy, but I love leading to Dean Rioli.
Dean Rioli,
Yeah.
okay, yep.
And then Hurdy had an amazing way of just telling me where he wanted me to lead and just put it out in front.
Like it.
Yeah.
All right, third shot. Here we go, Lloydy. Hit nice 100 here. There we go. 50, so that gets us to 40.
I've been a bit safe.
Goal of the year or mark of the year? Which one would you prefer?
I get bagged for the goal of the year. They say it wasn't even that good. So
Did you win a car that year?
Yeah, I got
nice. Yeah.
would you believe you have to give them back? So you only got them for 12 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's
wasn't-
not in the terms and conditions.
Yeah, it's true. It's sort of salary cap reasons.
Shot number 4 for Lloydy. He's on 40 at the moment. He won't finish 0. Not bad.
Oh.
Off the board. All right, last one, Lloydy. Here we go. The Golf Clearance Outlet. Let's see what he's got.
Who needs a car for year when you've got Mercedes-Benz.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Actually, that's a good point.
That's a great call.
Mercedes-Benz,
no.
Berwick, talk to us a bit
Mercedes-Benz Berwick, Craig Howard. I've been with them for nearly 10 years, so they've been great supporters of mine. I bought when you get, every year you play, you get sort of a fund to help you with retirement.
Yep.
I went straight to Mercedes and bought a car off Craig, and we've kept the relationship up, and now I'm an ambassador at Mercedes-Benz.
I like
Berwick.
it. Well, all the kids, are they going to go through the Mercedes-Benz?
No. All right, come on.
Here we go. Come on, Lloydy.
Yeah.
Let's finish with 100.
No.
Unlucky. Matthew, Lloyd, thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.